Good deal. We are recording. Great. All right. Good to see you, DeLeon. Of course, this is office hours. You know the deal. This is we're recording office hours now. So, hello to anyone who watches this recording. Office hours is the place where we have our different students come. DeLeon is a regular to ask questions about the cryptocurrency market. I'm here in my bedroom, or excuse me, not my bedroom. I'm here in our game room that is kind of set up for our 2-year-old because, of course, we're at home, not at the office right now. It's 8:32 at night, and this is where we answer your questions and talk about whatever it is that you guys would like to talk about. We have Win Peoples who just joined. Hello, Win Peoples. Welcome to Office Hours, my friend. It is good to see you. We are recording for Office Hours for the very first time. Very excited about that, and we'll be able to upload this recording for future sake. For anybody who is in Office Hours, who's here in the for anybody who's here in Club DeFi, greetings to you, Win Peoples. Good to see you, my friend. Yes, there is a possibility that I may let's see, how shall I say this? I am very much looking forward to this being recorded, because then all the people that are not able to join every single night at the same time are going to be able to join in. So that's going to be really fun. You guys can see some of the chat here from Office Hours of weeks past that we had with DeLeon and Ricky Ricks and Sophia Turner and everyone. So, of course, any questions that you guys have, this is a student-led conversation, so feel free to pitch anything my way, and we will hit the ground running. Good deal. I'm pretty excited about where crypto is right now. It's needed a big correction. Bitcoin has been sitting in this range around $25,000 to $30,000 for some time, and it has really I usually cannot, but today I could. I'm glad. Good. I'm glad you're here, Win Peoples. Really appreciate you and your support of the channel. Bitcoin's really been in this range for quite some time, around this $25,000 to $30,000 region. I definitely do believe that this region is a region that that Bitcoin is building a lot of support in, that it's going to be able to break through at some point in the future. And when it does break through that at some point in the future, it's going to be able to use it as a major level and a major zone of support. And that's something that I'm quite excited about. I definitely want to see Bitcoin holding on to the 20s region, because 20 is the region of not the last bull market, but the bull market prior's all-time high. So that $20,000 level is a lot more important than you think, just because of more recent price action. Excuse me, guys. I was actually going to get myself, and this was probably not going to be a good idea, but I was actually going to get myself a small cup of coffee before we started Office Hours tonight, but we were trying to put our newborn down. My wife's over here, and we just managed to get her, our daughter down. We're hoping she's asleep. We don't actually know that she's asleep, so, but yes, I'm hoping, I do believe that Bitcoin's going to be able to break above that $30,000 region within the next 6 months as a result of what we're hoping to be plateauing interest rates coming into the beginning to mid, really actually probably, yes, middle third quarter of 2023. When those interest rates plateau, that's likely going to have a huge knock-on effect on the United States dollar, on the Dixie, on the SPY, and all of that handing down to Bitcoin. So that region that we're trading in between 20 to 30 right now is a region that I'm definitely excited to see as support. Elite Dragon just joined. Welcome to Office Hours, my friend. I've not seen your name in a while. I might be doing that thing where I'm like, hi, nice to meet you, and I've already met you before. So apologies if we've already met. I've done that before. We had some people that were friends of my wife's family at our wedding. Several people, actually. And there's one woman, I'll call her Mrs. H. I won't say her actual name, but I have walked up to this poor woman 3 times since our wedding a year and a half ago. Sarah's laughing over here. I have ran into her 3 times since our wedding. Said, hi, nice to meet you. And she said, hi, Jeb, I was at your wedding. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like the pinnacle of awkward. I've done the same. I know, she helped set up for the wedding too. So I did that to, who was it? Josh, and then, yeah. And then there was somebody else also, but yeah. Anyway, so apologies if I just did that to you, Elite Dragon. It's nothing personal. Welcome to Office Hours. This is the This is our kind of our group setting call where you guys are able to ask me questions and go over different topics with me, your instructor here in Club DeFi. And anything from the course content that you'd like me to talk about, if you know, for example, we just put a new video out on confirmation. If you want any kind of review on that kind of content, if you want any review on Bitcoin in general, if you want any review on the different things that we teach, if you come to see just what my yawns look like, because you never see them on Coffee and Crypto, because I'm always wired on caffeine, then this is the place for you. And we just so happen to be recording as our inaugural recorded episode of Coffee and of our inaugural recording of Office Hours tonight, because normally we don't record them, but I thought, you know what if we started recording these and put them in a playlist so that people can go back and watch them? I think that would be something that you guys would like, and people that aren't able to be here but that are nevertheless in Club DeFi would be able to go and watch them, and that's something that I'm definitely interested in. Recording is a great idea. Thank you, DeLeon. I'm just going to check and make sure the recording's good. Yeah, we're good. We are good. I'm going to move this up just a tad. There we go. Let's see here. When people said, meanwhile, I will be mining and hodling as much as I can. I love it. That's something that I would love for a conversation to be on. And excuse the Lego set over there. Like I said, we're in kind of our little family room here. What is your main way of accumulating cryptocurrency? How do you guys accumulate cryptocurrency? Do you accumulate cryptocurrency through dollar cost averaging? Do you accumulate it through... Goodness. Oh, we really should have gotten that coffee. Do you accumulate it through dollar cost averaging? Do you accumulate it through mining? Do you accumulate it through business activities? Do you accumulate it through taking purchases in it? For example, back when we were, when CT2A had launched and we were taking payments for CT2A, people would pay us, $300 or $400 depending on what CT2A was priced at the time, and so people would pay us in Bitcoin. Sometimes I took payment in Ethereum too. I think I even took a payment in Litecoin one time, and the Bitcoin we would take, I would get like a tenth of a Bitcoin sometimes, because people bought CT2A when Bitcoin was trading at that. I remember somebody bought CT2A, like 6 people bought CT2A for $300 or so when Bitcoin was at 3,900 at the bottom of the 2018 bear market, beginning of 2019. And so that was like half a Bitcoin right there that we were able to accumulate through business activities. So that ended up being worth, $30,000 because these people paid in Bitcoin and we held on to it. Every time someone would pay in Bitcoin, I would just leave it in Bitcoin instead of, reusing it for business activities, because the profit margin was high enough I could do that. Just leave it in Bitcoin, leave it as an investment. We ended up making a couple of Bitcoin, a couple, 2, 3, 4 Bitcoin like that. And that ended up being kind of the backbone of one of the early ways that we generated cryptocurrency. And so the reason I mention that is not to, pat myself on the back. The reason I mention that is to show you guys that there's more ways to accumulate cryptocurrency than just dollar cost averaging. You can mine, like When Peoples was saying. You can generate through business activities. You can dollar cost average. You can buy in a lump sum. You can trade. I'm sorry, it's not professional to be yawning this much. So absolutely, there are different ways to accumulate it. DeLeon said recording is a great idea. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Come on, guys. I need some questions here. I can only talk to myself for so long. I mean, I can come up with stuff, but as you can see, I'm a little tired. So I need a prompt. Somebody's got to come up with a question here. If we don't come up with a question soon, I'm gonna have to put my wife on the spot and make her come up with a question for me. She's over here playing Mario Kart on the Switch. My poor wife. We've got 2 kids under 3, so this is like probably the first time in about 3 years that you've gotten to just sit down and play a video game. Since Malachi was born. When people said, how many months do you think Bitcoin will move sideways? That's a great question. I think Bitcoin is in a trading range right now between... The trading range of Bitcoin's in between right now, between 25 and 31-ish, is a range that let me see here. That's a trading range that I think Bitcoin is going to really be thankful for in the future that it built. I think Bitcoin is going to be in a much better position in a year from now because it built that range. And the main reason I say that is because of the huge amount of VPVR support that is being constructed in that range. Let me see if I can switch to my screen here and see if this will believe this will, yeah, okay, so this will record my screen, and then this will also hold on to, let me just check here. Stream is still running. We pause this preview to save you resources. Oh, I see. Okay, there we go. All right. I think this is working on the Streamlabs side for the recording. If not, I do apologize for anybody who's watching this re-recording. It is currently May 15th, 2023, so you can feel free to go back and look at your own chart if you're watching the recording of this. And that isn't populating. It might be, though. I'll have to look. All right, so Bitcoin's been trading sideways quite a lot here between $27,000 and $31,000. This is something, as I said, I think Bitcoin is going to be very thankful for come the next 6 to 12 months, because Bitcoin has been, in effect, building a giant base of support on the VRVP, and on the VPVR, I should say. Well, it is a VRVP. They changed the visible range volume profile, you can see right there. This VRVP that you can see is built up exceptionally powerfully between $16,000 and $25,000. There's a huge block of VRVP here. For Bitcoin to get back down to $15,000 from where it is right now is frankly inconceivable without some kind of just total collapse in the cryptocurrency ecosystem. For example, people just lose faith and confidence in crypto generally, and we see this kind of slow, gradual heat death of Bitcoin over the course of many years. Or if we just gradually see, or not gradually, but all at once, we see some kind of black swan event come into play, just knocks the legs out from under Bitcoin, then that's where Bitcoin could fall through this. But otherwise, I don't really see Bitcoin pretty much ever breaching through this huge block of VRVP support. It's similar to what we did here between $6,500 and $13,000. That's what we've been doing for the last, almost a year, ever since May, June of last year, that we fell down to these levels. And the other thing to keep in mind is that while we are trading sideways, the further we trade sideways here, the closer we're getting to being in profit year over year. Because right now you can see May 15th of last year, Bitcoin was trading at $31,000. Here in a month, June 20th, Bitcoin will have been trading at $20,500 in 2022. Bitcoin will probably be trading 50% above that on a year over year level. So even just Bitcoin trading sideways here does two things. One, it locks in gains, but two, it also even just trading sideways, even not going into the upside, into a rally to the upside, leads Bitcoin into having this property of being higher than it was a year ago, which is something that's very appealing to investors, because it tells them, okay, maybe I should buy Bitcoin right now, because a year ago Bitcoin was trading at 20 and now Bitcoin's trading at 28. That's a decent return. Year over year, if Bitcoin is trading at, let's say, where it is right now, then it will have been up $7,000, up 36% year over year. That is a year over year change that people are really going to come to appreciate, and that's a shift that's about to occur very soon. From every 12 months, from every moment in looking back 12 months, we've had bearishness, to now we're getting to the point where looking back 12 months, we're seeing bullishness. That's another bull market sign that you're going to be able to find if you look back into much of the history of the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market. So trading sideways is not necessarily a bad thing, just to kick off with. But the other thing to keep in mind is that there is a bit of a gap here in the VRVP. If we look here at our, just a cleaner chart here that I've been using recently, you can see there's this giant divot in the VRVP right here at $25,000. The reason for that is that 25,236 is a pretty important level that Bitcoin has passed through multiple times, but it very rarely stays at that level for long. And that led to this big just gap on VRVP between $25,000 and $28,545. Bitcoin has largely filled that VRVP gap up above 26,000, but it has not yet done it right here just above 25. So there is a potential argument to be made that Bitcoin needs to fall back down and test down to $25,000 again, just so it can kind of fill in the VRVP zone down there that it has not yet filled. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is that while Bitcoin did go through a small bounce over the last couple of days, it is currently, and I showed this on Coffee and Crypto this morning, Bitcoin is still in this descending triangle pattern here, and it still has not managed to break bullish out of this, and it still is under all kinds of bearishness from Lux Algo. It's very likely, therefore, that it's going to end up going through a correction and dropping hard to the downside. And if it does do that, trading above 25,236 for just a little bit of time is something that could end up giving Bitcoin a lot of springboard to move to the upside. It's possible that Bitcoin not falling back down to 25,236 a month and a half ago is the reason that we're still trading sideways, because we should have had a stronger correction moving down here in late April, but since we didn't, Bitcoin is going to end up having to go through that big rally a little bit later. So to answer the question, I suppose I should say, there is going to have to be some more time moving sideways and potentially even some more correction. I think that correction may take another month or so. I'd like to see what's going to happen June 13th and June 14th. That's a month away. June 13th, the CPI data releasing. Are we going to see another 0.1% drop on CPI? If so, then we can... That's not really going to give us any bullishness. We're going to need to see a larger CPI drop than 0.1. We're going to need to see 0.2, 0.3, 0.4% to see a major rally from CPI. The problem is we're likely not going to see that because CPI has reached a sticking point, and just raising the effective federal funds rate isn't enough anymore to get the CPI to go down. So I keep pausing because I thought I was hearing our daughter, but I think she's hopefully she's asleep. We'll see. And so I think you're going to need to see another correction, especially considering that we don't have any hope we don't have any like planned news coming out relatively soon. They could be bullish, for example, like I'm talking about the CPI data or the effective federal funds rate. The EFFR is likely going to have another 25 basis point rate hike as a result of CPI having only dropped by 0.1%. I would not be at all surprised to see Jerome Powell send the EFFR to 5.4%. It's at 5.15 right now. A 25 basis point rate hike was sent to 5.4. I could see it plateauing from there, but then you have to wait for the meeting in, gosh, where is it? Early August? FOMC meeting schedule. I think it's in early August to see the, sorry, it's July 27th. So, no, actually, I apologize. That was last month. Let me go to CME Fed prediction tool. If we don't see a Fed pause on June 14th, the upcoming meeting date, July 26th, okay, I was close. July 26th is likely going to be the move here. Now, the CME is still predicting with a pretty high certainty. Let me show you here real quick. CME is still predicting with pretty high certainty that there is going to be a 25 basis point rate, a Fed rate pause. And if that's the case, that could send Bitcoin skyrocketing on June 14th. We really just have to wait and see, because what Jerome Powell effectively said was, hey, we're not really sure what's going to happen, so we're just going to wait on incoming data before we make a decision on our next rate hike, which is, more dovish language than it was, but of course that hasn't actually come to fruition yet. So the way out of trading sideways at the earliest is June 14th. It likely will take longer than that, because even if we do see a Fed rate pause, I don't think that's going to be enough to break Bitcoin all the way up to 31. I think Bitcoin's going to have to kind of gradually climb its way back up to 31, and then something's going to have to happen to break the ceiling and allow Bitcoin to start going higher. Is the liquidity there down at 25,000? I think that there are a ton. I don't have the data up in front of me, but I think that there are a ton of longs down there, long entry prices down there, and I think that's why. I'll tell you exactly why. I'll just show you the chart really quickly. Let's see here. Let me just do this. There we go. You can see Bitcoin had its lowest low in almost 2 months on Friday. It dropped all the way down to $25,765, and that was the lowest low that we've seen. But you can see it's this big, long wick. That means that it got bought up very quickly. And because it got bought up very quickly, that ended up showing us that there was a ton of buy pressure down there. We shot down there very quickly, and then we shot right back up because people are willing to buy Bitcoin at $25,000. They're seeing a $25,000 Bitcoin, and they're thinking, that looks like a good purchase. And so when we saw Bitcoin come down here and trade sideways at 26.3, when we did go through our correction, we actually rallied very aggressively and went even higher than where we started. So that doesn't indicate that Bitcoin's going to go through this big rally over the next 2 days. I think Bitcoin does have more bearishness in front of it, but it does show on the short term anyway that there is liquidity down there. It shows that there is not just liquidity, but even more importantly, there is buy pressure down there. And so that's where I think that the focus ought to be, is that there's a cohort of investors that see Bitcoin going down to 25,236, and they see that as, all right, Bitcoin is starting, if it goes down to 25,236, Bitcoin is at the very top of a huge and very powerful support zone. And so it's going to hold if it goes down to 25,236, at least in that region. It could go down to 24.1. That's another major level of support. But the bulls are gonna fight hard if you start getting below 25,236 is my understanding. Now, on the flip side, the bears are gonna fight hard if you get above 29. And so that's where we're kind of locked in this zone right now, where both are at a standstill, and right now we're just kind of trading sideways in no man's land. Good question. That 25K is considered a good buying price is that 25K is considered a good buying price is amazing if you zoom out. Yes, it absolutely is. Absolutely is. Gives you a lot of context for how far Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has come. Because if you take the log chart off and you just look at this, it's almost comical just how high of a price that is. We're talking about $25,000 being a good buying price, and that is, you know, from $300, the base of a bear market past, that is 10,000% higher. Now, of course, this is 7 years later, but Bitcoin is obviously in much better shape right now financially. Excuse me, price-wise than it was. And that's not to say it's always going to be this simple. It won't be. But I think Bitcoin is definitely in good shape. All right, guys, feel free to give me any more questions. And if we don't have any more questions, we'll go ahead and wrap it out early. But definitely here for you guys with anything that you would like to see talked about, or any questions you have, any concerns you have. Anything on your heart. I mean, you guys can tell me, hey, Jeb, I think you should try this. Hey, Jeb, I think you need to do this. Hey, Jeb, I think you need to stop doing this. You're not going to offend me. I would like to think I'm not, because I'm not perfect, but I'd like to think I'm unoffendable. So feel free to let me know anything that you guys have to say. Question, comment. Can be professional, personal, whatever. Jeb, you need sleep. I do need sleep, which is why I'm saying if there's no questions, we will wrap it out. But we are... the commitment that we made is that I'll be here until 9:15, or until 9:40, or until 8:45 if there are no questions. So if I've answered all your questions, and if you guys are good, then you know I've kind of left it in the commitment there that we can wrap it out early for the sake of, you know, that I do office hours, you know, at night after the kids are in bed, and yeah. If you guys wrap out all the questions, then of course I can head out. But I do enjoy being here. I really do like office hours. It's also a lot more intimate. That's the cool thing, is that office hours I don't have to be like, I don't have to talk really quickly and then just make sure you know, I can kind of chill and just be myself and make sure I give you guys, you know, the high quality educational and informational content that I have been purposed to give you here on the channel, but also in a way where I get to know you guys on a deeper level, and that's something very special. So I'm very thankful that this is part of my kind of work lineup, my itinerary in the realm of YouTube and everything. So last call. Any questions you guys have, let me know, and we will go the next 20 minutes talking about them if we need to. But otherwise, I will go ahead and wrap it out and get some shut eye until the baby wakes up. Sorry, I thought that was funny. What are your thoughts on ADA? My thoughts on ADA are, quite simply, it's one of those things. My thoughts on ADA, I get asked this a lot. Price action wise, I think Cardano's in a great buying spot for the long term, but whether or not it's in a great buying spot for the long, and forgive me, this is going to be kind of a simple answer, but whether or not it's in a great buying spot for the long term ultimately depends on whether or not Cardano can prove itself. The entire cryptocurrency space is in this place right now where it has to reprove itself. The entire space has to reprove itself in the similar way that it had to do in 2016, and in a similar way that it had to do in 2019. Bitcoin is in the same place right now that it was in 2015, and in the same place it was in when it was in 2019. And you know what? Those were years where Bitcoin had some growth, but not much. Every 4 years, that year, the odd year, 2 years after the halving, is 3 years. 3 years after the halving is the year where there's a little bit of growth, but not much. And the market really has to prove itself. And so that was 2019 for Bitcoin. That was 2015 for Bitcoin. And right now it's 2023 for Bitcoin. 2024 is likely to be a great year. 2025 likely to be a great year. But it's going to have to prove itself so that those 18 months can be big. So that's a general principle in cryptocurrency, but it rings very true for Cardano right now. I like the development Cardano's doing, but Cardano it can develop all it wants. It can have the best blockchain. It can have the best technology. It can have everything that Charles Hoskin is trying to build into Cardano with inclusive accountability and decentralization and I'm forgetting the third pillar. Cardano can have everything that Charles Hoskinson is trying to build into it. But if it doesn't have the community, if it doesn't have the development, oh, I'm so sorry, sweetie. Yeah, I'm going to go after this question. Then Cardano's just not going to succeed. And I think it will, just so you know. Sorry. Sarah, can you close the door? Sorry. I do think Cardano is going to succeed, and I do think Cardano is going to do very well, but Cardano is absolutely going to have to prove itself. So as far as the price is concerned, I'll say this, and I'm going to wrap it out. Cardano is in a huge ascending wedge, and it's in the middle of breaking bearish out of it. So the fact that it's breaking bearish out of that ascending wedge gives some kind of credence to the bearish argument, or at least is trading towards the bottom side of the bearish wedge. It hasn't broken out of it. It's trading at the bottom part of it. That gives some credence to the bearish argument that Cardano is going to potentially go through a big correction, because if there's stagnation in Bitcoin, Cardano could see an outflow of value, just because people are going to ask the question, why am I investing in Cardano right now? It's not doing a whole lot. I think it is going to do very well. I love the project, but ultimately my thoughts on ADA all center around this concept of it needs to prove itself. And I think it can. And I think it likely will, but it's going to take time. All right, guys, I do appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you so very much for tuning into Office Hours. I'm going to go help my wife with the baby, because the baby is very overtired and just needs to go sleep. Like I told you guys, I think I said this on last Office Hours or on Coffee and Crypto or somewhere. It's shocking. You know, I never thought about this, but babies don't know how to sleep. Like you have to teach them. You know, you have to teach a kid to like eat, like with a fork. You have to teach a kid to walk. You teach them how to sleep. They don't wake up knowing how to. They're not born knowing how to sleep. Like, it's just mind blowing. But anyway, we're called to be servants because we are as followers of Christ. So I am going to go serve my wife and my newborn and try and help them both fall asleep, because they both need it. I'm going to go. Love you guys. Peace.